Hello and welcome to Up North Prevention. I'm Mike Maturin.
And I'm Molly Harvey.
And we're prevention specialists with Up North Prevention, an initiative of Catholic Human Services. In today's short video, Molly and I are going to be answering a few questions that have come in from the community and that we hear frequently when we're working in the field. And Molly, the first question is prevention. What does that even mean?
That's an awesome one. Thank you to whoever submitted that question. It's definitely one that I get very frequently. In its most basic kind of definition, we're looking at the action of keeping something from happening or stopping something from happening before it even begins. So in our positions as prevention specialists, we're looking at substance use and how we can prevent individuals from becoming addicted to substances.
Excellent. Nice, concise description of what it is that we do.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. I have a question for you. What is a prevention specialist and what do they do?
Well, in a short and sweet answer, we are specially trained community educators. We are experts in substance use disorder information, and we spend a lot of time teaching in the community. We speak to civic groups like the Lions Club or the Rotary Club. We also spend a lot of time in schools, working in the classroom, doing school assemblies, teaching life skills to the kids so that they can make wise decisions along the way. We also work with other community-based agencies, human service agencies, to help create a network of support for people who might be struggling. And then finally, we also work to create drug-free coalitions in the counties in which we work.
Great, thank you very much.
Sure. And another question that had come in is related to that, and what exactly is a coalition and what is it that they do?
That's another great one. I can get really detailed, but in the most basic explanation, we're looking at community members coming together, sharing their various perspectives, and then working together to identify issues in that specific community, and working together to address those issues. So one of the things that we really try to do is involve 12 sectors of the community. So we're getting perspectives from maybe some media agency within the community, maybe someone from the court system, somebody potentially who's a parent of a child who's in the school system. We might even involve youth. A youth perspective is just so invaluable when it comes to that community work. So we're looking at bringing all those different people in the community together. Normally we want to meet at least once per month to share those perspectives, as I mentioned, and then identify issues and work together to address those issues.
Excellent. That big picture is so vitally important to what it is that we do so that we can tailor our programs to the specific community.
You're exactly right. And it's because, as you mentioned, every community is completely different, and the needs of that community they're really specific to what's happening there.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, next question for you. What are some of the biggest issues that you see as a prevention specialist?
Boy, there are so many, and as we've already talked about a couple of times, each community is kind of unique and specific. But some of the overarching issues that we see out there are tobacco use among our youth, most especially now in vaping, which has become a real problem. The misuse of prescription medications, misuse of alcohol is still, and has been for a long time, and still a very large problem. And then other trends that kind of go community by community, things like maybe an uptick in methamphetamine, cocaine, crack, that kind of illicit drug. And these are all issues that we're going to address in future videos more specifically.
That's great. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Now, Molly, one question I hear all the time is from the community is, what can I do to help?
That's a good one. I think there's a lot of different ways that this question could be answered, but most often I like to answer that question in this way. 3 things that we really want to be mindful of: monitor, secure, and dispose. So we also touched on this a little bit more in depth in our last video related to where we kind of covered naloxone and opioid misuse, but essentially monitor your medications. So know what you have, secure your medications, make sure that they're locked up, and dispose of your medications properly. So know where you can take your medications, where they can actually be incinerated. So you're not dumping them into the toilet or the water system, or putting them in the trash where somebody might be able to find them and misuse them.
Absolutely, and that's so important. I remember as a kid, that's the way we got rid of our medications, and that's not acceptable. We need to take them to either local law enforcement, our local hospital, some medical clinics now, and pharmacies. Some will have a site where you can go and dispose of your unwanted, unused, or expired medications, and that's the proper way to dispose of them.
That's really helpful. And if somebody is bringing their medications to a site like that, they're bringing them within the container that they got them from the pharmacy. So in that, can you explain that?
Yeah, in the prescription bottle.
The prescription bottle.
Yeah, we don't want, you don't want to be driving around with a baggie of medications that are, we don't know what they are.
Unlabeled.
If you have, unlabeled medications, and that would be a bad thing. So what I recommend is that you take the medication in the bottle to wherever it is you're going to dispose of it, and then put it in a Ziploc bag, seal it, not the bottle, just the medication, seal it, and then drop it in. Most of these sites don't want pill bottles, they don't want liquids, they don't want inhalers or syringe type things like an EpiPen.
Okay.
So that's the proper way to dispose of it, and then you're not driving around with an unlabeled medication.
I think that's really helpful.
Yeah.
And like you said, we'll get more into details in future videos, but I think that's really important for people to understand. So thank you for touching on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one way that we can get involved, that everybody can get involved and do our part. But Molly, there are other ways. What are some other things that people can do that want to get involved?
That's a good question. And another one that, we hear all the time, I think there's a lot of people that are really passionate about substance use, and the fact that, maybe they themselves have struggled with substance use disorder, or somebody that they deeply care for or love, a family member. And so people are really passionate about this subject. And even if it hasn't directly impacted you or your family, I think one of the best ways that you can get involved in sort of being part of the solution is figuring out if you do have a drug-free coalition in your community.
Yes.
So you could reach out to Up North Prevention, and you could see, is there a coalition happening? If not, maybe you want to bring together various community members and start one yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always opportunities to get involved. I think it's important for people to understand that their voice truly matters, and that they can be a strong part of the solution if they share their perspective and their experience.
Absolutely, and quite often there are people out there that have a story to tell that can be very helpful in helping other folks who might be struggling as well.
Very true, very true. So I guess just to end, Mike, if you could share our contact information with Up North Prevention so that people can reach out to us if they have more questions related to what we covered in this video, or if they're interested in finding out how they can become part of a coalition or part of our prevention efforts.
Absolutely. We have an 800 number that you can call. It's 1-800-356-5755, or they can simply go to upnorthprevention.org, and all of our contact information is on there.
Great. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you to everyone who submitted questions. We are happy to continue to answer any questions that you come up with, so please feel free to submit those as they come up. We hope that you have a great day, and we will talk to you soon.